Hey guys, welcome to a new video. The patch hit a few days ago and quite a few picks have popped up over in Korea that we probably didn't expect, so we're going to look at what they are abusing to climb the solo queue ladder. Like some bellend is rushing Duskblade on Akali and actually winning. Remember, it is pretty early into the patch, but we get a look into what is working so far, and I also check these every day, like on op.gg and Lowalytics if you fancy stalking them for yourself. Now if we move on to our first pick of the video, welcome to apparently the most broken thing in the game right now, which isn't Cho'Gath, but actually Janna. So I'm role swapping, I'm not playing with Janna's every game. I will be forever tilted while they fap and occasionally shield in the lane phase. So anyway, I don't normally put supports at the start videos, right? Because it's not that popular a role, but this Korean way of doing it is really funny. You know how there are like a million different idle clicker gold games now on the mobile store where you just try and make loads of dollar? That is basically how they play Janna. That new coin item that got buffed a few patches ago legit just gives her so much gold, which she dumps into items that make her ridiculously powerful. Plus Koreans have got a new Janna rune page, which is so stupid, but it works. I never thought a support would actually be overpowered just because she got more gold than everybody else, but there you go, I guess. Like Sensor, Locket, Crucible, Redemption, these items buff her shields and heals so much and have so much impact. So standard masteries, but runes for real as well, this isn't a joke. Armor reds, AP blues, gold per 10 yellows, and gold per 10 quints. I've never seen anything like this before. They even run gold in their runes now for some reason. That is the most popular and has almost a 60% win rate. The build is coin into Ardent Sensor Rush, like literally, and then Sightstone, so Sensor before they get any wards. Then they upgrade the coin to the eye item, Redemption or Locket, and Crucible. When you get out the lane phase, you should expect to do really well in the game. Like people around you just shouldn't die. What a fun champion to play against, but pretty good to have on your team. So normally I have a little bit about matchups, right, in these videos, like who she beats and loses to, but she actually has a positive win rate so far this patch in Plat Plus, at least, against every support. I have never seen anything like that before. She's basically like the new Gangplank for supports, I guess. She gets so much gold, more gold than any other support, more items, and uses them with amazing synergy that keeps everyone alive. So the next one is Untitled Shyvana. The beast is back apparently. They gave her E and AD ratio and a bit more base armor this patch, and it kind of worked. It has to be partly to do with the buffs, right? But I guess it's also just she outscales everybody. It's pretty weird, but she's better with damage now than before, though, that's for sure. The new Thornmail also seems to get bought a lot more, actually, so that must help, but this is Devourer Shyvana with Frozen Mallet. At the moment, she is beating most tanky champions, even decent versus Cho'Gath in his broken state, which is awesome, but she's also a beast late game. That's kind of what is leading to her win rate spiking up. I wonder if this will be like a this patch thing, or if it'll be kind of like people have just forgotten how to play against her. So build red smite normally, but blue actually works as well. Devourer, Frozen Mallet, that's kind of why you don't need the blue smite, because you have the slow there instead. Titanic Hydra, Thornmail, Deadman's. The runes of masteries are pretty standard, actually. Further battle, which is definitely one reason why Devourer works so well, actually, because you can stack it faster. When you get into a game, you should really expect to do well, like past 3 items, I guess. If you get ahead, you'll be fine. If not, you've kind of got to farm your way into the game, I guess. But the good thing is, in the Season 7 jungle, it is decent to farm and solo dragons. Overall, we've kind of got like a tankier version of Marcy, I guess. Makes some sense why she'd be played and do pretty well. She definitely had to spike up after the patch though, and especially for people who are good at her, they saw the biggest jump up after the buffs. So for this one, this is even after the hotfix, by the way. The first day she was out with the crazy buff, she got a solid 55% win rate instantly from less than 50% the day before the patch. The buffs are good for her, but she was a bit of a sleeper pick, I guess, for a while. I think actually, like, the meta shifted into exactly what she wants. The best Korean Sivir players are up to around 60% win rates now, if not higher, so this buff actually really did help a ton. Funnily enough, she's losing the most to Jinx, actually. She gets outscaled like a mofo, and that range from Jinx is crazy, but she's strong against most others, to be fair. Tristana especially, actually, she's kind of like a pocket counter. Like, Trist can't really farm on the tower, right, because of her E explosion damage kind of screws it up really badly. Sivir is just gonna AFK push the wave with a W and a Q. It's really grim to play that matchup. Build-wise over there, they're still going Essence Reaver first, so you get more ultimates and stuff like that. Koreans love the supporty style of AD carries, then Phantom Dancer, Shiv, or Rapid Fire Cannon into Infinity Edge. That 3-item combo is really important for your W crits. It's a lot of your damage. Runes are going pretty standard, and Mastery is actually even into Warlords now. Even though Fervor used to be really good for her W crits and stuff, she just needs the healing a bit more, I think. Sivir is normally a really good late game pick, I guess, but early she's been getting really strong, sort of like mid game as well, though. 2 to 3 items when you group and run people down with your ultimate, that is when you're best. So overall, we have a nice little buff to a sleeper champion who was already getting stronger because of the meta shift before anyway, so you should kind of expect to see a lot more of her this patch. Now here comes the most face roll stompy champion ever. I'm sorry if you main her like Professor Akali, right? But I do have an issue with dying in less than a second, okay? She got 2 decent-ish buffs this patch, the AP ratio on a passive passive went up a little bit, and the cooldown of her shroud went down as well. Akali is also really good against kind of like slower matchups. To be fair, I think she was already in a decent spot before these buffs, just not very popular, and she fits this whole thing of like, if you let me get to level 6, I'm gonna ruin your day. Mostly we're beating weaker laners, I guess, or tanks mostly actually, just because she can farm and then roam a little bit or get 6 for free. Other bruisers are a bit harder, but you can still roam at least. Build-wise, we have that twat building Duskblade first for some people, but Gunblade, Zhonya's, Lichbane most of the time. Void stuff after, you get damage and then you stomp. The most common runes are AD reds, AP blues, armor yellows, and AP quints, but some people run weird stuff like a mix of AD and attack speed reds. The first 30 minutes of a game, she has a crazy win rate. That's kind of your time to shine. Obviously you can win after, but that seems to be the most effective phase for you. So again, we have a good champion who got a good buff, a proper face roll and stomp if you get ahead. In my opinion, a bit of a risk though, at least if you aren't very good at the champion. If you don't get ahead, you can end up being kind of useless, but if you do get ahead, you'll be laughing. So it wouldn't really be one of my videos if we didn't throw in something weird in here so I could get flamed in the comments, right? Like, tank junglers are here, and apparently so is Mundo. He actually had a massive spike up the first day, settled down a little bit more, but he's still very good. Like, the buffs this patch were to his E, giving him 2% bonus magic resist every time he takes magic damage, up to a 30% bonus. Mundo isn't actually a trash jungler. This is the thing. Like, he farms okay, but in this meta of health scaling, he is legit like the king. You seem to do well against aggressive picks, weirdly, because you can kind of just out tank their damage and laugh at them, really. To be fair, with Red Smite, actually, he can give them a good smashing. People normally do get the Red Smite Cinderhulk, then like Visage, Warmogs, Thornmail, sometimes Deadmans and Randomers as well. Some nutter in Korea actually goes Warlords Bloodlust on Mundo in Korea. Like, most go Grasp or Stoneborn though, which is a bit more sensible. Runes can get a bit weird, like some geezer runs 80 reds, attack speed blues, HP per level yellows, and attack speed quints. Surprisingly, you're kind of decent early game. Your Q can give you a decent gank, to be honest, with a good slow, and then he scales into a massive tank late game as well. He's definitely best late game, but you can do a lot early. This is a very weird pick, right? But one that kind of makes sense a little bit, I guess. He's always been a pocket jungler for a few people, and maybe with these Cinderhulk buffs from a few patches ago and now buffs to him, he's actually better overall. Kayn is a bit of a different one. He's now entered into the top 5 most played junglers over in Korea. He got a decent buff this patch, but there is a massive difference between a bad one and a good one at the moment. It seems like he's pretty good later over there though at the moment. Like, probably doesn't help that a lot of games get the open to mid treatment if lanes fall too far behind, and he's not really a massive ganker. He doesn't exactly offer the most early game pressure, I guess, but with some damage and items behind him, he can actually carry, like, legit. At the moment, he's beating champions like Rengar, Gragas, Lee Sin, Zac pretty well, but not champions like Sejuani and Cho'Gath, the tanks, I guess, or really aggressive damage picks. The build on him at the moment for the jungle would be like Warrior, Cleaver, and then tanky, Visage, and Deadmans and stuff, so a pretty well-rounded build, I guess. If you have rather large testicles, though, you can opt for Warrior, Duskblade, Ghostblade, and go Lethargy instead, like a proper damage carry build. Fervor is the most popular keystone at the moment and wins more for now as well. Thunderlord's on a few people, but he's very good at stacking Fervor, plus it makes his late game better. So when he's actually good in the game, in Korea it's better later for sure, like 4+ items, but over here in Europe and North America, he's actually also very good early. That is obviously if he gets ahead, but I don't know, he definitely dips mid game for sure as a champion though. So a new champion is always going to be pretty hard to play, especially when he's complicated like Kayn, but once you've got to grips with him, how he works and stuff, he seems like he can really carry a game, and Koreans love that. So a quick thing at the start of this one for Twisted Fate. He's been one of the most popular mid lanes for a while, but he's a lot better this patch. He didn't get a buff or anything like that, but it seems his roams are just so effective in this style of game, plus mid game he has a ton of damage as well. The good thing about Twisted Fate is there's no real risk for you. You can sit back, you can farm, you can also set up ganks really well with the gold card, and then you can also roam and impact other lanes. Weirdly, you kind of beat most overall actually, like on average at least, just because you can kind of escape the lane phase and play the map instead. Matchups don't really matter a ton. Obviously some are easier and some are harder, like Zed's a pretty hard matchup, but the point is whatever champion you're against, if you don't lose your lane too hard, you can roam or you can teamfight really well. Koreans always go Rod of Ages first, then Lichbane, Zhonya's, Luden's, Deathcat. Banshees though is quite an upcoming item, I guess, like more and more Twisted Fates are buying it now. Basically everyone takes Thunderlords and pretty standard TF runes like health per level or armor yellows with move speed or AP quints. One of the things that means he's so good at the moment is he's got a really solid win rate throughout the game, but definitely like you want to do most of your work before like 4 or 5 items. At that point you are still good, you do a lot, but you've got to get closer to people with a lot of damage, and they're probably going to have a QSS as well. So he did get a lot better this patch. He stumps a lot of popular matchups, beats some difficult ones as well because he can roam, and his low stun cooldown actually does so much work in this meta of crowd control and team fights. Just like in general stuff, the meta how it actually is played in Korea, I guess, like in top lane it's mostly mostly lane phase bruisers, so the aim is really to win the lane phase and win the split push war, I guess. In the jungle, tanks have the highest win rate by far, but most people play Lee Sin, at least Kha'Zix, Gragas and stuff, of course, like these carry picks. Mid lane, we have mostly roamers actually, so like Castin, Ahri, Talia, or Orianna, who's just considered the best mid overall because you can't really beat her in lane basically. For AD carry, we have Jhin played in over 30% of games, followed by Caitlyn, Twitch, Zaire, and Ashe, but Twitch is still the number one to be honest. For support, Thresh is banned in 50% of games and played in almost 30%. That about sums it up really. So that wraps up the video. We've got Janna, Shyvana, Sivir, Akali, Kayn, Mundo, and Twisted Fate is the most improved this patch, I guess, or some new picks people are abusing for some free low. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're still here, make sure you hit the like button and enjoy the robots.